Greetings. My name is Asheer Ram and I am an associate professor in the School of Accountancy. I'm here to talk about the VAT rate versus the fuel levy. Now we know that in recent days there's been a lot of discussion, especially around all the budget speeches. At the first budget speech that didn't happen, there was a 2% VAT increase that was rumored. When the budget speech did actually happen the second time, Treasury proposed and the Minister of Finance proposed 0.5% VAT increases in order to build fiscal prudence in the budget and to ensure that there's enough money. Against that backdrop, because of the VAT rate increases, the fuel levy that forms part of our petrol price remained unchanged. Now we saw that subsequent to that, there was a court challenge and the VAT rate increases needed to be repealed. Now, because there's a hole, or because there was a hole in the fiscus that needed to be filled, at the third budget speech, the Minister of Finance then proposed an increase in the fuel levy being 16 cents per litre for petrol and 15 cents per litre for diesel. The fuel levy up until that point had remained unchanged for 3 years. Now, why does this conversation matter? It matters because the VAT and the fuel levy can both be seen as regressive taxes. So the question is, what is a regressive tax? The word regressive means that it primarily impacts poorer or lower income households and individuals. So a VAT rate increase has a bigger impact on poorer or lower income households from their affordability perspective. Now, a fuel levy, while not having the same broad impact of a VAT increase, because a VAT increase affects pretty much all or most goods and services, whereas a fuel levy affects just our petrol and our diesel prices. So while the fuel levy has less of an impact, it is generally seen as less contentious. However, we need to understand that because it itself is regressive in nature, personal transport costs could go up because of the fuel levy increase. All goods and services that require transport are also then going to increase in price, and the impact is less broad but still disproportionately affects our lower income households. And this is why the fuel levy increase has been likened or called a stealth VAT, because it's less clear, it's less visible, but it's still something that in the long run can impact and can lead to inflationary pressure, but on the fuel side. And what is noted in especially the political space is that there have been calls and there have been statements made that the fuel levy, because it's also regressive in nature, should not be implemented, should not have been proposed, and rather something like a wealth tax should be considered, which is a separate discussion in and of its own right.